two Chinese vessels collide in the dark waters of the West Philippine Sea. A chase turns into chaos, and the world is now watching Beijing's aggression backfire spectacularly. Welcome to GeoFrontline, where we break down the truth behind the headlines and uncover what's really happening in our seas and skies. This is no ordinary naval incident. This is a symbol, a moment that exposes the growing desperation of China's maritime forces and the unshakable resolve of the Philippines and its allies. Reports began surfacing early this morning. A Philippine supply boat on a resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre and Ayungin Shoal was being shadowed by multiple Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels. As the Filipino crew tried to maneuver through rough seas, two of the pursuing Chinese vessels reportedly collided, scraping hulls, spinning out in a spray of seawater and smoke. At first, Beijing denied the event, but video evidence soon emerged. Grainy night vision footage showing the unmistakable chaos. Floodlights, sirens, shouting in Mandarin, and then the sound of metal grinding against metal. The so-called People's Coast Guard, caught in its own web of intimidation. This was supposed to be another day of bullying in the West Philippine Sea, but instead, it became a moment of humiliation. And across social media, Filipinos erupted with anger, pride, and disbelief. Has China finally gone too far? For years, the Philippine Coast Guard has endured laser attacks, water cannon blasts, and dangerous maneuvers from Chinese ships. Yet each time, our seafarers held the line, calm, disciplined, proud. This collision shows the world exactly who the aggressor is. Even as Chinese vessels tried to block a small wooden Filipino supply boat, they ended up crashing into each other, a metaphor for the crumbling logic of their own aggression. Defense analysts across Asia are calling this the reckless unraveling of China's maritime dominance strategy. The goal of Beijing's operations was to intimidate, to make the Philippines back down through sheer pressure. But instead, they're revealing the flaws in their coordination, their command, and even their political calculus. Because for every attempt to corner the Philippines, the alliance between Manila and Washington only grows stronger. Just hours after the incident, the U.S. State Department issued a stern statement, warning Beijing that any armed attack on Philippine vessels would invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty. American surveillance drones were reportedly spotted near the area soon after, sending a silent but unmistakable signal. The world is watching, and the world has chosen its side. Satellite images now show U.S. Navy PA patrol aircraft orbiting near the Spratlys, while the Philippine Navy has increased its presence along key routes to the Sierra Madre. Fishermen have returned to their daily routes with renewed confidence and growing support from their own people. "We will not be scared anymore," said one fisherman from Palawan, holding up the flag on his small bangka. That's the spirit the world is now witnessing. Ordinary Filipinos standing tall against a giant. But here's the deeper question. Why did this chase even happen? According to experts, China's recent aggression is part of a pattern. A show of power ahead of the ASEAN meetings, and an attempt to test the Philippines' growing defense partnerships with the US, Japan, and Australia. But this time, the plan backfired. Not just politically, but visually. The images of two Chinese vessels colliding have gone viral across Asia. For Beijing, that's a nightmare. For the Philippines, it's proof that justice is on our side. Behind the scenes, Philippine intelligence sources say more Chinese ships are now gathering near the shoal, possibly to control the narrative or even remove evidence of the collision. But that won't change the truth. Every reckless act by Beijing strengthens the resolve of the Philippine people. Every attempt to dominate our seas makes our alliances tighter and our spirit stronger. Let's not forget, this isn't just about ships or borders. This is about sovereignty, dignity, and the lives of Filipino fishermen who depend on those waters. The West Philippine Sea is not a playground for foreign powers. It's our heritage, our livelihood, and our line of defense. And China knows this. That's why they're pushing harder, risking collisions, risking escalation. But here's what they didn't calculate: the courage of a nation that refuses to yield. The Philippines has faced colonizers, wars, and disasters, yet always rises stronger. So when Beijing sends dozens of ships, the Philippines responds with one simple message: we will not be intimidated. As night fell after the collision, Philippine Coast Guard ships stayed their course. No panic, no retreat. Just steady navigation toward their mission. A small team of sailors carrying food and water to our soldiers stationed at the Sierra Madre. The world might see a wooden ship against a steel fleet. But what they don't see is the courage that powers it. A courage no missile can destroy. And when news of the Chinese collision broke in Washington and Tokyo, responses were swift. Japan called it dangerous and unacceptable. The United States reaffirmed its commitment to defend its ally. Australia expressed solidarity. What China expected to be a minor intimidation attempt has turned into a diplomatic storm, a headline that exposes their recklessness to the world. In Beijing's propaganda machine, they'll likely twist the story, claiming the collision was an accident or blaming provocative maneuvers by the Philippines. But the truth is simple. If they hadn't been chasing our ships illegally in our own waters, there would be no collision. This event isn't just a story of two ships crashing. It's a snapshot of a bigger struggle. A free Philippines standing against coercion, backed by allies who believe in law, not force. It's a story of ordinary men at sea facing extraordinary odds. And winning, not through violence, but through persistence and honor. The collision might have been metal against metal, but symbolically, it was pride against arrogance. The Philippines has shown the world that small nations can stand tall when backed by truth, law, and unity. As dawn breaks over the West Philippine Sea, the waves have already washed away the evidence of that chaotic night, but the message remains. Every ripple carries the echo of defiance. Every sunrise over Palawan is now a reminder. This is our sea, our sovereignty, our fight. This is GeoFrontline, bringing you the truth behind the storm. Because the real power isn't in size or numbers, it's in courage. And the Philippines has plenty of that.